the Bible support slavery?
No. I said no.
Must give Bible verses. That's the rule in the room. Samantha, what do you think? Do you think Bible supports slavery? Think of all.
Are there like laws about
Yeah, the laws
having
are
slaves?
It's like 7 years, right? And then if you still want to continue, then you something about like piercings.
I want to pierce my ear. I want to be a slave so that in the 7th year I can pierce my ear. Alright, so we go step by step. Okay, so the question is, does the Bible support slavery? What do you think? Don't know. Alright.
I just said
Don't know
no.
is a fine answer. That's
I'll
why
just
we're
say
here.
no. I'll just say no.
Okay, I know you said no. Alright? Well, what do you think?
Isn't it what type of slave?
Second question, right? Always ask the second question, what type of slaves? Alright? And what do you mean by support? So when people ask all these questions, you have to think biblically. Alright? Always answer a question with a question. Okay, so now, what kind of slave? So now, are there any kind of slave that God supports to have? That our God supports? Yes. Certain slave, okay. Yeah, why do you say so?
Because back in those days, you have like people jobless on the streets and stuff. Adopting them as your slave means that you provide them a place to stay, protection, shelter, while they work for you.
Okay, those that were poor in society, right? So the question is, were there slaves in the Bible? Very clear, yes. Old Testament, have or not? Definitely. New Testament, have or not? Now look at each other and do not so hard already. Did New Testament have slaves?
Yes.
God, right?
Yes.
Okay, so now, are the Old Testament and New Testament slaves the same?
Different?
Different. Why different?
I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Okay, we ask the scribe.
I don't know. I don't know.
Jaslyn, do you think the Old Testament slaves and the New Testament slaves were the same?
What do you mean?
5, 4, 2. What do you think?
I think in terms of what they did,
What they
So
did
had-
were the same? You should have asked me, what do you mean by the same?
that's all we are.
Or what do you mean by the same?
Yeah.
Alright, so they were slaves, right? The question is, were they the same? This is the same kind that God sanctioned. Okay, so now, tell you the answer. Alright? There were at least 4 ways a person becomes a slave in the Old Testament. Alright? So you mentioned one. The people that cannot support themselves. Okay? How does a person end up being so poor? I don't know of the part about they were sleeping on the streets, but they became very poor. For example, they have a farm. They borrow money from someone. Alright, then they set up a farm. And then bad weather, or they are very bad businessmen, they open a business. And then they fail. And then they can't pay back the money. Alright, so they can't pay back the money. Not only they cannot pay back the money, they are bankrupt. They use up all the money they borrowed. So Emily has nothing to eat, nowhere to sleep, because you have to sell away your house. Because you have to pay back. And then you have no food, nowhere to sleep. Alright, so what are you going to do? So God in His kindness for the Israelites, alright, God say that when that happens to someone, for the Israelites, everyone, you are all brothers. You're supposed to take care of each other. You're not supposed to let someone die of hunger and die of the cold and have nowhere to sleep. Alright? So they will look at Emily. You're my sister. So they say, we must help each other. So God came up with this system that allows the people, if you can't pay back, then you can go to that owner or that man, that family, and say, we can't pay you back. But God said, alright, then you work for the person. Alright, you work for the person, you become his slave. Alright, during that period, you pay back. Okay, you pay back. So that's one way they become slaves. When they have children, alright, so one day Ellery has children in the past, then will the child, what happened? So Ellery is a slave to a family already. Alright, Is it good to be such a slave or not? Would you rather die on the street, no food, die of cold? Is it a good thing?
No.
It's a good thing.
No.
Why?
Why would you want to die from cold? So we get hungry.
Because you ran out of money. You owe this person no more money.
Yeah, but what if you get hungry?
Yeah, then you will die. So
Yeah.
God says, because you have no, and this man will receive him to the house and will provide food, provide shelter, take care of their children, and so on. Okay, this is how people end up being slaves. Is it an evil system? It's a system out of God's love to make sure the children of Israel take care of each other. So when you read about slaves in the Old Testament, it's like that. You think that people hated being such a slave? God even gave them a choice. Those who like to pierce your ears? Why you cover your face? Alright, so those that like to pierce your ears, so God said, you're right, Brenda, God says, but you cannot keep them as slaves forever. Okay, God is a God of love. Now, every 7 years, right? 7 years, in the Sabbath, you must free them. And you must even give them money and let them go. Okay, that is God's rule. Because we are all, He said, you're all Christian. Everything that you have, it came from me in the first place. Alright, so whatever the person owe you, by the way, if I owe Brenda $100, alright, after 7 years, can I say, Brenda, I don't pay you, free me? You know, at that time, God made it very clear to them as Christians, you're all brothers. What you have, the money you have to loan out, came from who? Came from God. Now, if God say, write off the debt, can you say no? You cannot, because God was the one who gave you in the first place. God said, write off, you have to write off. So, why did God do all this? Is to teach the children of Israel everything that they have comes from God. Understand? Now, so they have to give, because God said, oh, you receive from me, I say write off, you write off. So they will all go back, their lands will be released back to them. Okay? But there are those who may not want to say that. Anyway, every time I do anything, I fail. I will go bankrupt again. They say, no. And you see, very often the relationship is so good between the master and the so-called slave that many of them don't want to leave the family. That's how well they treat each other. Alright? So you come and stay in my house, they treat them like their own family, their own children, they take care of them. So many of them say, no, then I don't want to leave my master. And then they become a slave that you put all to the ears, right? Go to the door, alright, ready, after I take you downstairs, put your ears next to the door, and then I nail a wooden peg through. Okay, that's what they do. Okay, they say, I want to be this slave. So you see that back then people have a wooden awl, not now, you know how to do it. You have a wooden awl, then they know that this man has pledged himself, although he's released, can go, he pledged himself to continue to be the slave. That's why it is. So it was not a wicked system. It was so good that people want to continue. Okay, so now, that's one. What's the second one? Anyone can guess?
Captive slave?
Yeah, born into slavery. Alright? So while you're a slave, then you give birth to children. That child will automatically be part of that master's family of slave. Okay, so that's another way. So that's why I say, hey, how come you're a slave? Because you're born slave. Alright? What's the third one?
Captive slave? Captive slave?
Captive because of what?
Because of war?
Because of war. That's another way. Alright? So nations invade another nation, then they capture them and make them their slaves. Do you think this is the form of slavery that God wants for the children of Israel? No, these are different. Okay, these are different. But when the children of Israel... Okay, never mind. Don't confuse it further. Now, and what else? One more. Huh? By trade. Very good. What example do you see? Huh? In Judges, who became a slave because...
No, Joseph.
Joseph. Let's start with J. Okay, close enough. Right? So it was Joseph, right? Joseph. I know you meant to say that. Joseph. How did he become a slave in Egypt? His kind brother sold him as a slave. Alright? Was that the kind of slavery that God intended? No. Alright? Yeah.
Now what about like the alliances between countries where one country needs to be subservient to another?
Those that told Gideon.
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about.
Okay, those are fine. God says if they want to be your slave, they surrender, they want to be your slave, fine. But you treat them well. Okay, so whatever slavery that God allowed is always you treat them properly. Okay, God always expects that. So now, so there's another one, yes, out of wickedness of men they capture people. You know, in the commandments in Exodus, in Leviticus, there are people who abduct people. Alright, so when you go home, be careful, lock your doors. People come and abduct you and sell you as slaves in Thailand. It can happen. Alright, those were that kind of slavery as well. Man stealers. The Bible calls them man stealers. What are man stealers? I steal you from your mom and I sell you away. Those are man stealers. What's the penalty? Death. Alright, God hates that kind of slavery. God put death on that kind of slavery. Okay? So that at least these 4 ways a person becomes a slave. So now the question, the person who asked, who asked this question? Does the Bible support slavery? Alright, what was in your mind?
Oh, because a lot of my friends, like, they ask me if the Bible is so good or like something like
How
that.
come there's slavery?
Yeah.
You say, yeah, that's why God is so good. So you explain. That is the biblical kind of slavery that happened. God used it to take care of their people. So now the question that I asked earlier, is the New Testament slavery the same as the Old Testament? No more already. Remember they split as the children of Israel, they were scattered, then they came back. Okay, they came back. They were now under another nation, right? So you read in the New Testament, when you read slaves in the New Testament, were some Christians slaves in the New Testament? Return to Colossians. Colossians chapter 3 verse 22. Colossians chapter 3 verse 22. Alright, servants, I just read to you. Servants, obey in all things your master according to the flesh. Now, this word servant is actually the same word as slave. Okay, slaves. So they were slaves. But some people became Christians or they were slaves. So these are not God-instituted kind. Alright, because of battle, because of what, when these people became slaves, God say, someone to free themselves. Say, I'm a Christian now, I shouldn't be slave. Then Paul did say, if you are born, do not seek to be loose. Carry on. And if you are a slave, then you must now be a good Christian slave to your master. Okay, you're not supposed to escape from your master. Okay? So now these kind of slaves were not the kind in the Old Testament. They were made slaves, could be through trade, could be through abduction and whatever. Okay, so this different kind, Old Testament. What about American slavery of the black people? American slavery of the black people. It's not the Bible kind. Those are abduction, wickedness of man, and oppression and all that, wickedness of society. So when you explain to your friend, you said what we see today in the modern world of slaves is different from what God instituted in the Old Testament. God instituted in the Old Testament to take care of the people because there are people who cannot pay back. They simply become servants in the house so that they can pay back. That's all. So that they do not end up sleeping in the street. They can't feed their children and the children die. But they get out of love. And they were freed every 7 years. Okay, so then they understand. Alright?